Grief has a way of impacting every single part of your life, including your career. And let me be clear, I'm not just talking about the grief associated with the loss of a person. I am also talking about the grief associated with the loss of a role, of a team, something you felt aligned, of a version of yourself that you thought would exist at this moment, and it doesn't. Those are things that we grieve. So, in this video, I want to talk about how grief impacts our career decisions and kind of what I wish I knew sooner. And let me say this up front. Grief doesn't just impact how you feel, right? That's certainly part of it. It also impacts how you make decisions. It impacts how you receive feedback. Um, it impacts your capacity to adjust, to change. All of this, all of this is associated with grief, and I don't think we talk about it enough, specifically as it relates to our career. People start to feel unmotivated or off, right? And I'm saying all of this from experience. They feel like they're not focused. They feel like even if a good opportunity came their way, they would not be excited. And let me just say something about this because I know that typically when you lose someone and you are employed, you have a certain amount of time for bereavement leave. And I'm telling you, no amount of time whatsoever, when we're talking about the loss of a family member, someone close to you, that amount of time, 3 days, 5 days, no. And so we put grief on a timetable and then wonder why when we're back to work, we're still not months later, years later, still not where we think we should be because there's this time frame that somehow exists in the eyes of corporate. I'll also note that grief distorts your career expectations, your timing. Um, you start accepting roles that maybe should feel good, but they don't. You start making moves faster than you should. You even stall in some cases. So you stay stuck in a position because you are dealing with grief. As I think about my own experience, there was a time when I dealt with the loss of my father, and almost immediately after that, our entire team was laid off. Um, to this day, I think about the decisions that came after that, um, and how I accepted maybe opportunities that I wouldn't, under other circumstances, have accepted. Um, that I was trying to decide between a couple of things, and the decision I made was kind of like, grief really has a way of throwing strategy completely out the window. I use the word a lot, but when it comes to grief, it's like, yeah. So when we start thinking about the loss of employment, the loss of maybe an opportunity that was, perfect, or at least we thought it would be a perfect fit for us that we didn't land, the loss of a loved one, please understand that forcing yourself to be strategic probably not going to work. I want you to hear me clearly when I say that I'm not saying you should stop your job search. What I am saying is that self-awareness in this instance matters so much. Sometimes major life stressors impact the way you make decisions for months and sometimes years, and we can throw a capital S on the end of that because it can certainly take some time. Again, I'm not saying that you have to remain stagnant, but I do want you to be self-aware. I do want you to really think through maybe getting someone involved with your decision-making process, because not for nothing, you're not thinking clearly. And again, I'm saying this as someone with a great deal, unfortunately, of experience in the space of grief as it relates to your career. Here's what I really wish someone had said to me, right? Give yourself grace and phone a friend. Give yourself grace and phone a friend. You are human. You are so human. And as humans, we are flawed naturally, even in the absence of grief. We are naturally flawed individuals, naturally flawed beings, right? Give yourself grace to accept that there are things in this case that you can't rush. You can't rush your way through grief so that you can then make a decision that impacts your career. Phone a friend. Phone a friend. There has to be someone in your corner you trust to help you navigate critical decisions when maybe you're not operating at 100%. You're just not, right? Again, I say this to you all and I don't, yeah, I say this in large part because I know this message is timely. I know so many are dealing with layoffs. Oh my gosh. So many of you are dealing with layoffs. Um, and I want you to give yourself grace and I want you to phone a friend. That is what I wish someone had told me. And so, if this resonates, if you or someone you know um, really needed to hear this message, I'd ask that you go ahead and like. Of course, that signals to the algorithm that this is content that you found valuable. I'd ask that you go ahead and share this with someone who may benefit. And of course, if you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. On any other channel, please go ahead and hit that follow button. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Um, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And of course, I will see you soon.